Hello. I'm Rick Cates. I've been a research and graduate assistant for several professors while working on my PhD. Teaching, or should I say effective teaching, is difficult, either online or in the classroom environment. Before I get started, let me add a little disclaimer. None of my comments are associated with any of the professors I worked with. With that said, many professors and instructors are not aware of the dynamics taking place in their audience. I use the term audience because that really is the makeup of the students sitting in the classroom. Yes, they're there to get an education, but they're also there to be entertained with exciting and relevant information. This can be missed by professors, particularly at a Tier 1 university, where many times the focus is on research and not on education, which is a shame. Therefore, many professors stand up in front of their class and simply impart their wisdom in the form of boring lectures and boring PowerPoints. On the same token, many times an ineffective classroom is facilitated by the students who just want to sit there and put forth little effort and simply absorb the material and focus on what is on the test. My position is that learning should be a give and take between the professor and the students. The second line in the image, to create, I feel is very important to the overall learning process. So let's go ahead and get started. So as a professor, which is more important? Meeting students' wishes or meeting students' needs? Or are they one and the same? Students wish to have the material to be relevant to them, to be able to see how the material they're learning in class will relate to real life and to their career field. A second wish is that the material is not going to be boring, that if they take the time to go to class, that the material the professor presents to them is exciting and interesting. Our students are digital natives who have grown up with technology their entire lives. Our students are constantly bombarded with different types of media. This generation is so ingrained with technology that they would put internet at the bottom of Maslow's hierarchy of needs. So how do we, as instructors, reach our students so that they're not checking their Facebook while we're lecturing? An excellent starting point is getting to know your students and letting your students get to know you, as well as learning their particular learning style and what works best for them, and then try to accommodate that in some shape or form. Obviously, we know that not all students are alike, and that students have different learning styles. And one way to capture that and to be more effective as an instructor is to do a simple learning style inventory, which is available on many websites on the internet. Once you have an idea what type of learners you have in your classroom, you can start tailoring your lessons accordingly. I think in most cases you're going to find that for this particular generation you're going to have visual learners, but let's say for example you have a bunch of kinesthetic learners. You can have a short activity that is more hands-on, which may be more relevant to these particular learners. My next suggestion is to break your lessons up into small bites or chunks. I like to refer to that as transitions. So let's use the example I had earlier. You've got kinesthetic learners, you've done a hands-on activity. Well, then the next activity you do would be something that appeals to the visual learners. I suggest breaking your instructional time or online time into 20-minute increments, similar to TED Talks, whose mission it is to share inspirational ideas. TED Talks limits the time to 18 minutes because that's about as long as someone can stay focused at one particular time. If we want our students to be interactive, we need to take a proactive approach and address their particular learning styles and realize that they are truly digital natives, which means in my mind, that their attention span is a little shorter, and ultimately they do want to be entertained. Our students have had the luxury of shifting from one media to another media if something becomes uninteresting. Our students are not the easiest to educate, but I think we need to meet them halfway. And on the same token, they need to meet us halfway and be participants in the overall learning process. Thank you. To imagine, to create, and to learn. That is what we're striving for.